I got to a point one day where I had just had enough. And it sounds really strange, but I actually had kind of a light bulb moment one morning. I was getting out of my bed and I was feeling those same pains and depression and discouragement just the minute getting out of bed. And I sat on the edge of my bed and I just had this very strong, intense feeling in my heart that I was not going to do this anymore.
You are listening to Feminine Will, powered by Sweatseat. I'm Andrea McKee. This is a show about women who choose athleticism, adventure, and bravery every day. Thanks for listening. Give us a little bit of background on you and, where you grew up, what brought you to Georgia.
So originally I'm from Utah.
Okay.
My parents raised 6 kids there. I'm the oldest of 6. And I, after graduating from high school, went to BYU and could not figure out if I wanted to be a musical theater major or a theater major, and went back and forth until I finally said I wanted to be a serious actress. So I graduated with a degree in theater and then got married real fast because I met my sweetheart at BYU, and then tried to think to myself, okay, what am I going to do to maybe help make some money? We had a baby right away, and how could I contribute to the house? I guess my dreams of being a famous performing artist is not going to happen. So what I did is I started doing community things and singing professionally with a few groups. And then I had a voice lesson with an amazing teacher that taught me how to do something in my voice for the very first time in over 30 years of trying to figure it out. And I said to myself, I want to be able to teach people how to do that. And so I started teaching voice lessons in my home. And that little hobby turned into a pretty full-blown career. And
That's incredible.
I've been doing that for about, it's kind of embarrassing, almost 36 years now. That gives you an idea of how old I am. And I've had the blessing of seeing some of my singers go to Broadway and get into the top musical theater schools and see them do some professional things with labels. And so it's been really, really fun and interesting to meet amazing people from all over the world doing that. So that's kind of what I've been doing, as well as being a mom and a grandmother of 2 babies that I just adore, and married to a wonderful man, and then just trying to find my way in the bodybuilding world. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Give us some background on how that started.
So I kind of have always been a bit of a chubby kid. I was kind of chubby when I was little, and I was kind of on the chubby side as I was growing up and became a teenager. And that little challenge in my life brought on some bullying and some teasing from kids, and it became a sense of kind of actually a really big challenge in my life as a kid and then as a teenager.
Do you feel like it almost made you feel like you had to prove yourself?
No, not necessarily. I just kind of felt like I wasn't as good as everyone else. And I know that that's not true now, but that's how I felt as an overweight kid and an overweight teenager. There were times in my life when I wasn't quite so heavy. They were usually during some really challenging times. But for the most part, I carried some extra weight with me and was always very self-conscious of that. Then I had babies and the stress of life and being busy and not being able to get out of the house. I ran a lot with my dad when I was a young adult and a teenager, and I tried to keep that going. But there were times in my life when having babies and raising a family that I kind of set that aside. And I think I carried those insecurities with me as a child, and then compile stress and the challenges of life with that. And I found myself with some eating addictions and a lot more weight than I ever thought I would carry with me. And I felt really in a rut and really started to experience some deep depression. And I started seeing that affect my life, being a mom and being a wife and being a friend and being a sister and a daughter. And I started to notice that I was getting a lot of pain. I was about 42 years old, and I was having a lot of pain in my life, emotionally and physically. And I just didn't feel like I fit in. And I got to a point one day where I had just had enough. And it sounds really strange, but I actually had kind of a light bulb moment one morning. I was getting out of my bed, and I was feeling those same pains and depression and discouragement just the minute getting out of bed. And I sat on the edge of my bed, and I just had this very strong, intense feeling in my heart that I was not going to do this anymore. That I was going to change it once and for all. Even though I had tried a million times in a million different ways to make those changes, something was different about this morning. I just had a very strong, very clear clarity come to my mind that I was going to change this. And I was also going to help God. I was going to let him help me because I knew that he had the answers. And I had a very strong feeling about that. I had a very strong feeling that if I relied on him and I listened to him and I did some things differently, that I would be successful. And that actually was the morning of the turning of events for me.
Wow. So give us an idea. How many kids do you have?
So I have 4. My oldest is 31 and my youngest is 16.
Wow. And you said that you tried so many different things to change your circumstance, the way that you felt about your body.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you had tried?
Oh gosh, every single diet, every shake that you could drink. I even went and saw a doctor and got shots to try to repress my appetite. You name it, I did that. And I did all of those things probably from the age of 12 to the age of 42. Wow. And I would have times where I was successful for a while, like I would lose 10 to 15 pounds, but inevitably it would always come back. And it was a sign to me that I really hadn't learned how to change habits. I had learned how to do something different for a while, but I had not put that change in my mind or in my body or in my soul in a way that it actually changed my whole outlook. And that's what I realized I needed to do, is I needed to figure out a way to really change habits once and for all.
And I know you posted on your Instagram like a picture of you, like the kind of a before and after, at least here's at one point in my life, and here I am now.
Yeah.
So can you give us an idea of like how much were you aiming to, like what change were you aiming to make, and what were you aiming for to be healthy, to feel healthy?
At that morning that I had that kind of light bulb moment, one of the things I did was I went into the bathroom and got on the scale and said, okay, where am I? And I know that your weight on the scale is not everything,
right?
But I needed to have some starting points. And so that was the one thing that I did, is I got on the scale and I realized that I was 196 pounds. And then the next thing I did was get a brown leather journal that was sitting at the bottom of my drawer that I hadn't touched, yet. It was brand new. And I got it out of my drawer and I started writing down what it was that I wanted to do, which is something different than I had ever done before. I decided to come up with a very concrete plan. And I decided that it didn't matter how long it took me. That was the other thing that I started to do different, because it was always about, I've got to do this in a month.
Right, or I've got to get to this so I can go on this vacation or whatever.
Or go to a wedding or fit into this dress or go to this party.
Very short-term oriented.
Right, and I decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore. I decided that if it took me a year, if it took me 2 years, if it took me 3 years, I did not care as long as I did it.
Yes.
That's what I was concerned about.
I love that.
So I decided that I would write not only what I imagined that would happen with my weight, but what I wanted to actually do. So what my spirit was crying out for, what my heart was crying out for, what my biggest dreams were. I didn't care if it sounded outlandish. I was going to write it in that book, and I was going to use that as like a long-term goal that I was going to go for. And the beauty of that was that then I could create all these little tiny goals that would lead me to those big things. So in answer to your question, I wanted to get down to a healthy weight that made sense for me.
Good.
And I also wanted to become an athlete, because that was something that I always wanted to do as a young teenager, but never thought I was capable of doing it because I was always too heavy or too out of shape, or I didn't feel that I was capable. And I didn't know what that looked like back then, but I just had this idea that I wanted to become some type of athlete. I wanted to be in tune with my body. I wanted to feel strong. And I wanted to get rid of these feelings of not feeling adequate or not enough. So that's kind of what I was going for.
So were there people along the way that you feel like impacted you and your view of the world, kind of inspired you or helped you along the way?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned before, I had gotten this journal out and I had written down what I wanted to do. And I had asked God to please put people in my life that could help me attain those goals. And those people started showing up. I had a friend who was learning how to be a nutrition coach. And she came up to me one day and asked me if she could help me. And she said she kind of wanted to use it as a means to see if that she had the ability to help people. And
That's
I said,
awesome.
I know, I said, absolutely. So that was one gift that showed up. And so she came to my house one day and she got me all set up with my nutrition. I remember the first thing that she asked me to do was get rid of diet sodas and sugar. And for 2 weeks, I felt like I was going to die.
And this was after you made this goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. She just showed up in my life and she said she wanted to help me. And so she took me on this little journey of teaching me how to have a different relationship with food. Because as I was growing up and trying to figure out this whole food thing, I always had it in my mind that there were bad foods and good foods, and I needed to stay away from these bad foods. But those were the foods I wanted to eat all the time because they tasted so good and they numbed all my fears and my depression. And so I would turn to those foods when I didn't feel good, but they were bad, and so I would feel bad about eating them. And what I needed to do was to change my relationship with food, how food was a source of life. And notice how foods made me feel.
Yeah.
And notice what foods did what for my body. Did they make me feel strong? Did they give me energy? Did they make me feel good? Did my body function well when I ate these types of foods? Instead of thinking good and bad, I started to think about, now what is it that I want to do, and how is the food going to help me get what I want to do? And that changed my whole mind, because I was like, wait a minute. if I want to go into the gym and exercise, I have to have the right kind of food in my body so that my body will respond accordingly. Or if I want to build muscle, I have to have the right kind of food so that it will prepare my body and feed my body and nourish my body so that it will do that. If I want to get rid of extra weight, then I have to feed it the right food so that it can balance itself out and let go of what it doesn't need and hang on to what it does need. And so it was more of a changing of my mind than it was this number on the scale. And when I changed that idea of changing my mind, suddenly I got really, really excited because I felt empowered by that. Instead of like I was doing something wrong, I was doing something bad, I started to think about, okay, what are the things that I can do and why do I want those things and what's going to help me get to what I want? And that changed the whole process for me.
I think that mindset is really a powerful one because you go from shame that sort of keeps you in this downward spiral to education and understanding, which sort of lifts you out of kind of a depressed feeling about that thing, like food.
Right.
Yeah. So
instead of concentrating on everything that I couldn't have or everything that I couldn't do or everything that I was in a way taking out of my life, for example, Diet Coke and sugar or whatever, instead of missing those things, I started to concentrate on what I was getting. So I started to notice that, wow, eating fruit and vegetables makes me feel really strong. I feel empowered by that. And noticing that my body was letting go of the weight. Oh, that is amazing. I feel empowered by that. And I started to concentrate on what I was receiving instead of what I was letting go of.
Oh. So when you sort of decided to make this change, was it... did you have in your mind that you wanted to do bodybuilding?
No. So
what did you have in your mind as like your attack plan for how you wanted to change?
I just wanted to be able to run because I was a big runner at the time. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to run some more races. And I want to just feel strong. I want my back to stop hurting. I want my knees to stop hurting. I want to join a gym and see what that feels like. And so I actually joined a boot camp class at Lifetime Fitness and started working out. In about a year, I had dropped all the weight that I thought was good for me to drop. And in this boot camp class, I started to notice some muscles showing up in my body. And I was like, what is this? I got really excited. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, wait. This is not all about losing weight. This is really cool that I can put this muscle on my body. And the idea of that made me feel strong physically and emotionally and, strangely enough, spiritually.
Yeah.
I started to feel this real strength and confidence show up because of that. And one day when I was at the gym, my trainer, who was in charge of this boot camp class, gave us the bad news that he was quitting. And I was devastated because he had really taken me on this really nice journey of getting into shape physically and seeing some muscle show up. And I thought to myself, now what am I going to do? And I was at the gym one day, and one of my friends from the gym came up to me and said, hey, there's a new trainer upstairs, and he looks like he's a serious bodybuilder. Maybe you should chat with him. And I was like, show him to me. I'm like, where is he? And I went upstairs and met him. His name's Daniel Stefanski, and he had just recently moved here from Czech, and he did look like a serious bodybuilder. And I said to him, I want you to make me look like you.
That's really funny because the only bodybuilder that I know in person that I know was a bodybuilder at one point was Jack.
That's funny.
Really funny.
I had this very interesting conversation with him one day, and he trained me free of charge one day just so I could get to know him, and I was hooked immediately. And
what did you like about the training experience or about him? Or
that he pushed me and challenged me. And I thought to myself, this trainer thinks I can do something. And so I had this idea that he would believe in me. So not just me, but there would be somebody else that would believe in me and have faith and confidence in me. And so I thought, I want more of this. I want to see where this can go. And so he took me over to his table and he kind of laid out the plan and told me what it would cost and how I would need to show up and what the nutrition plan was and a little bit of information on what it was going to take. And I said, okay, I'm in. And he said, okay, sign here. And so I signed on the piece of paper. And he said, okay, now do everything that I'm telling you to do, and this will work. And I said, okay. Okay. And I turned around to walk, to go out of the gym. And I got to the big stairs that you go down to the first floor. And just as I got to the stairs, he yelled at me. He said, yo, Miskin. And I turned around and I said, what? And he said, just so you know, I'm going to know if you don't do what I ask you to do. And I was like, I will do everything you ask me to do. I kind of pointed at him don't you worry, I'm going to do it. And that was kind of what got me excited about making sure that I fulfilled all of my responsibilities, because I wanted to see if I could check off all these boxes if this would happen. And I knew, because of what he was teaching me, that I had to be perfect in all these boxes, because this wasn't just about losing weight now, okay?
Right.
This was about doing something big.
Like expanding your limits.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to see where this could take me. I was really, really excited about it. And so my intention was to do it perfectly, because I wanted to turn around and go, okay, this is what happens when you do it perfectly. And you wouldn't know unless you could check all those boxes off.
Huh. Yeah.
So we started training together, and I've been training with him for about 10 years now.
Wow. So you're saying you're about 52.
Yes. That's about it. You gave the secret
honestly,
away.
I just wanted everybody to know this, because when they go check out your Instagram, they're going to be blown away.
I am 52. It's crazy to think that.
It's just, and to just know that you're powerful, that you're powerful, and it doesn't matter how old you are or where you've been or what you've been through, that you can make change.
Yes. And bodybuilding is an extreme. Bodybuilding is not for everyone. You don't have to bodybuild to be in shape or to change your life or to be healthy.
Right.
That's not what I'm preaching. It was the thing for me. It was the thing that gave me passion, that kept me on the course, that kept me changing habits, that kept me continually moving towards a new goal, a new plan, a new level of excellence. And I needed that. And so that can look different for anyone. But what I realized, because there's been some ups and downs to bodybuilding, is that age will scare you. As we get older, and I'm experiencing this because I'm 52, there is a sense of fear about that, because we don't know what's going to happen to us. We don't know if we're going to continue to be healthy. We don't know what kind of challenges are going to hit us or our families, and we worry about things we may have not worried about when we were 20. My body doesn't recover as quickly as it did when I was 42. So there's some differences. And as a result, I've had to take precautions and really watch myself and making sure that I'm doing all the things that I need to help recover and take care of my body. But you're exactly right. We should not let age determine whether or not we can make changes in our life. And I intend on continuing to make changes in my life. And it will look different as I get older. I hope that I can continue to bodybuild when I'm in my 70s. It will look different. I'm not going to be competing or doing anything like that, but I hope that I can continue to remain healthy and strong, even though it will look different.
And do you feel like your coach holds those same values with you, that he's aligned with making sure that you are training well and you're safe and your body is taken care of? And
Yeah, and the other thing that I have really appreciated is having someone that holds me accountable. There were a few key things that I did that I think helped me make changes. And, one of them was like keeping a very detailed journal, which I talked about before. The other thing was having people show up in your life that could help you, like when I had my friend show up that's a nutrition coach. But having someone that you can be accountable to, it really, really helps. It helps you go, okay, somebody's watching me, somebody's looking over me. I have to wake up in the morning and say, this is what I did yesterday, and I hold myself accountable to that through you. And because of that, that's just really helped me continue to meet my goals. So I think accountability is really, really important.
And I think that's interesting to note because, we recently had a runner on here who said she has a coach and she loves having a coach. And I think that I think that accountability is a powerful tool for us to really achieve the things that we hope to.
Absolutely.
How did your family respond to your newfound adventures of bodybuilding, or even when you started your membership at the gym and you started doing the boot camp and when they started seeing the changes? Give us some insight into what that was like for them, because your kids were probably, like 20 by then, right?
Yeah.
Or some of them at least.
Yeah. So it's funny because I kind of have two different groups of kids. I have my two oldest and my two youngest. My family has always been tremendously supportive. I am married to an extraordinary man who has supported me and understood why and what I needed to do to be fully me. And he's always been protective of me because there's been some people in my life that haven't understood what I was doing and really questioned it. And he's always been my great protector. And that has been a tremendous gift. This sounds really strange, but I've actually lost some friends, not from bodybuilding, but from losing weight and changing my life.
Interesting. Tell us more about that.
So when I started to make changes in my life, there were people that were not supportive of that.
Like friends? Family?
Friends.
Okay.
I actually had a friend who told me that she couldn't be around me anymore because I wasn't the same person. And I think she was right. I don't think I was the same person.
How do you think you were different?
I think that I shed all the insecurities that I had. Well, not all. I still have some insecurities. I think that's normal. But a lot of them, I wasn't depressed anymore. I wasn't discouraged. I didn't feel like I didn't belong. As a result, I spoke up more for myself. I gave my opinions when it mattered. I didn't let people walk all over me anymore, so I did change. And I think I was still fun and nice to be around, but I think it was hard for some people to see me go from being 196, pretty heavy woman to a slimmer version of myself. And then, wait a minute, she wants to bodybuild? And I think that was really hard for some people. So, and I think the bodybuilding world is an interesting world. I think some people are like, you want to do what? You want to stand on a stage in a bikini? And I know that sounds really weird.
Well, tell us more about because so religiously, you're part of a religion that tends to be pretty conservative,
Very
right?
conservative,
And
yes.
So tell us more about, how you sort of mindset-wise shifted and how you kind of became okay with that. Because I'd imagine you probably, had you ever sort of been judgmental of that in the past, or have you always been pretty open and minded to something
Actually,
like that?
I have a sister who did some bodybuilding before I did, and I remember I had run the St. George Marathon and immediately had left that and went to go see her in her first bodybuilding show. And I remember going to the show and going, what is this? Why are all these people standing around in swimsuits? This is so ridiculous. And so it's so funny that like 12 years later, I would be doing the same thing. It's just so funny. So in my religion, I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we really teach modesty. And I believe in modesty. I mean, I think it's we don't dress like pilgrims or anything, but we try to make sure that we dress modest, and our bodies are sacred, and I believe that. I also love the church that I belong to, and I'm just so grateful for my membership in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I stand on a stage to demonstrate the muscle and work and discipline that I have done with this body that God has created. And I do that with honor and with thanks and with gratitude. And it sounds very strange, but it is almost a spiritual experience for me because it has made me so grateful for this creation. And I think it's absolutely amazing what we are capable of doing if we put our minds to it. And so I don't run around in bikinis everywhere else. I don't, except for when I'm on the stage. And I just do it to illustrate the muscle that's on my body. I consider it to be a costume, just like if I were an ice skater or if I was a swimmer or if I was a volleyball player. It's my uniform. But that uniform goes away when I get off the stage, and it's so fun. And I love being backstage with all the athletes. I have never done a show where I have not looked around me and thought, this is an amazing group of people. They have the amount of discipline that goes into preparing yourself for the stage is quite amazing. And so to be around people who have that same mindset is inspiring. It's really inspiring.
So give us an insight into what kind of discipline goes into being on the stage, and then because it's competition, right?
Right.
And you're a vocal coach, and that's your career. Tell us more about what goes into preparing for that.
So usually, like right now, I'm ending a year-long bulk. So I'm a little bit heavier than I normally am. I've been eating a lot of food to help put on some muscle, to grow and develop muscle all year. And I have just begun my slow shred. So my first show is going to be in July. And basically what my trainer does is he gives me a nutrition plan, and he'll change that nutrition plan every few weeks based on how my body is responding and what's happening. So when I'm bulking, I'm trying to eat the kind of food that's going to help me put muscle on.
Like?
A lot of protein. And I choose to eat meat protein. That's what works for my body. I eat at least my body weight in protein, and I eat a lot of carbohydrates.
Like at least your body weight in protein?
Yeah.
How often?
Every day.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, every day. Yeah. So it's funny because when you're bulking, you're eating a lot more food, but it's really important too to also keep track of that food. You're trying to keep track of your macronutrients. So you're trying to keep track of how much protein you're eating, how many carbs you're eating, and how much fat you're eating. And you're watching that and seeing, okay, is this helping me build muscle? I'm not putting on too much fat. I feel stronger. I feel healthier. I feel good. So you're kind of working on that before the shred. And then the shred is when you start to slowly, remove that fat from your body so that all you're left with is this muscle that you can, illustrate on the stage. So at that point, usually I'll keep my protein high still, but I'll play around with the carbohydrates and I'll play around with the fat. And, you start off slow, like we'll take maybe 200, calories off my eating plan, and we'll then start to change that every few days. So we start to maybe carb cycle so that some days when I'm lifting really heavy, I have more carbs. Sometimes when I'm not lifting as heavy, I have less carbs. And we call that carb cycling, and you watch your macronutrients and you pay attention to how your body's responding. So it's not about just, here's the plan for 12 weeks, just follow this plan. If you have a good coach, he's watching how your body is responding to what you're eating and how you're training every week. And if it's not responding, then you make changes. And if it's working, you stay with that plan until your body goes, nope, I get what you're doing. And then you change that to get your body off a plateau. your body is really smart. It's really smart, and it can figure out what you're doing really quick. And so it's good to kind of change things up every once in a while. So I usually will drop around 25-ish pounds for the stage.
And how long does it take you once you start the shred?
So, well, we started kind of a slow shred, so it's a lot longer than 12 weeks. But it's anywhere, for me, it's usually 12 to 14 weeks of leaning down and getting ready.
And so you're preparing for another competition.
Yes, I have an eye on a show in July that I'm thinking about doing. So, yeah.
And do they group you with women your age or with?
They do. So there's different divisions. I used to be a figure competitor, and now I'm a physique competitor.
What's the difference between those two?
So the difference is there's more muscle definition in a physique competitor than there is in a figure. The figure competitor wears shoes, which I miss because I love the high heels. But the physique competitor does not wear heels. You're flat-footed on the stage. The poses are different. And so you that's the other thing you have to do is you have to, spend a lot of time posing, because posing is really hard. It's really, really hard. You have to look very natural and really relaxed.
While flexing all of your muscles?
While you're flexing every single muscle in your body. But you have to look pretty with a smile on your face like this ain't nothing. And it's everything, actually. Like posing, I'll sweat more during posing rehearsals sometimes, even compared to like heavy back day. It takes a lot out of you.
Wow.
And then the physique competitor also does a routine to music. So I'll have to put together a routine. It's a posing routine that you do with music too. So
okay.
So when you're getting ready for a show, it's not just going into the gym and lifting weights. It's you're keeping track of every single thing that's going into your mouth. And when I say keeping track, like measuring every single thing.
Does that include water?
Yes, I have to drink so much water. So I have a weight scale, and my husband's like, really? Only a teaspoon of that? I'm like, yes. It's like everything has to be to the T. It's kind of like a chemistry, experiment to see how your body's going to respond.
So interesting.
So so it's not just the weightlifting. It's the training. It's the stretching and recovering. It's eating the right food. It's making sure that you're sleeping really, really well so that your body recovers and uses the nutrition correctly. It's practicing posing. It's practicing your routine. It's picking out your music. It's finding your really sparkly, glamorous suit. It's practicing in that suit. And then for women, it gets really complicated. You got to make sure your hair's done and your makeup's done. And you have to have the right makeup for the stage because it has to be stage makeup. And
you have to be tan, right?
You have to be tan.
How do you get tan? Do you use like a spray on or something?
Yeah, so usually the show provides tanning experts that come and they spray tan you.
At the show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us more about how you make sure that you sleep well.
So this is a funny thing because I haven't always slept well. And it's
really important for athletes.
Yes. And as I'm getting older, sleep is hard sometimes. I'm like, I can't turn my brain off So this is something that's really interesting. But as I started to get older, I started to notice, sleep, and I was having some anxiety, and my body wasn't responding as well to weightlifting. And so I went and gone to a hormone doctor and found out, whoa, all my hormones are all off whack. And so that wasn't a really important thing to do, I do blood work every few months to make sure that my hormones are good and that I'm getting the right nutrients for that. Mm-hmm. And when I found out what I was lacking, it helped my sleep. I didn't have as much anxiety. It was a very interesting thing. And I'm not sure that women talk about that openly, but I think that's really, really important to really keep track of what's happening to our bodies as we get older and do the correct things to help balance them out. And once I did that, I could sleep better. I take this product called Calm. I don't know if we can say product names on this podcast, but it's a magnesium supplement that really helps me calm down at night so that I can sleep, and it's been a lifesaver. So that's really helped me a lot. So I have to go to bed early.
How early?
If I had my choice, I would go to bed at 8:30. Like I have a teenager who's 16 and he doesn't want to go to bed till 10. And I'm like, yo, I got to go to bed. Because I usually get up at like 5 or 5:30, you know? And so I've got to be in bed by 9 or 9:30. And if I had my way, I would love to be in bed at 8:30. So it's around there.
And so do you get up at 5 or 5:30 to train, or?
So yes, I have to get a boy out the door
Okay.
for school. And then yes, I train in the mornings.
And how much are you training right now?
So I train an hour and a half. That's just the weightlifting part of it every day, except on Sunday. Sunday I rest. And then I have to work in time for getting warmed up, doing dynamic stretches, and then cooling down. Sometimes I'll sit in a sauna. Now that I'm starting to shred, I have to add in the cardio. So the cardio starts really low, like it's 15 minutes right now, but eventually it's going to be like fasting cardio where I'm probably doing 45 minutes. And so, yeah, it takes a lot of time. And then I got to come home. I got to eat right when I get home. I got to make sure I have the right water. So, you know, it's interesting. Bodybuilding is not just a 2-hour event. When you're getting ready for a show, it's pretty much an everyday thing.
Every day, all day, because you're thinking
Every day,
about
all
everything.
day, yeah. And so I have to make sure that I am not getting so obsessed that I'm not paying attention to my family and to my children, and that I'm not doing the other things that are required of me as a human being and as a family member and a church member. And so it takes a lot of discipline to make that happen.
And so what are some of the things that you do to make sure that you are sort of staying balanced?
Well, I'm married to a good man who knows how to give me good reminders without making me too crazy. Blake and I try to spend at least one night together every weekend, so we really try and do that. My children are very active in sports, and so try to be really supportive of what they're doing. And get enough family time. Sunday is a good day. We always get family time in on Sundays. And just making sure that I'm reaching out to friends and that I'm taking care of my church responsibilities. And it's very, very tricky. I will not lie to you and tell you that when I'm training for a show, I am a balanced human being, because I'm not. There's just no way.
Yeah.
But I just try not to neglect the other things in my life that are important completely. And as I said before, I have a really supportive family who understands that for the next, 14 weeks or so, I'm going to be a little cuckoo, If I'm like starting to walk around like angry lady, my husband's like, you need to eat some chicken, babe? And I'm like, yes, I need chicken. So yeah, you do struggle with that because it really takes a toll on your body.
And how often do you do shows?
I did 2 shows last year. I did one in August and I did one in November. The plan is to do one show in July and hopefully a show in November. And then I think I'm going to stop competing. I think this is going to be my last year of competition. It's a big deal to compete, and I want to then get to a place where I'm just living a little bit more moderately, and I'm not so on the extreme of things, and just stay really healthy and strong without injury, as I continue to move down the path of bodybuilding. And I know that, hopefully I'll continue to be able to do this for as long as I want to, but I'm excited to see where else I go. And I think that's the other thing that I learned from the losing weight and the bodybuilding is that there's always another turn around the corner, and there's other exciting things to figure out, okay, what else can I do? What else can I be?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember that even though I'm 52, that life's not over. Like, we're just getting started.
Yes,
like, let's figure out what else there is to do. So.
And so what have been some of the things that have kind of brought you to this point to help you, think about stopping or like kind of ending your era of competitions? Yeah. And have you been competing for the last 10 years consistently?
No. So I had 2 shoulder surgeries in 2017, and it was a good year and a half of rehab. It was a pretty intense, very difficult year for me.
Was that from bodybuilding or?
It could have been, but
Okay.
it could have been just years and years of wear and tear from other things too, from dancing and from skiing,
Okay.
and but bodybuilding,
Yeah.
I'm sure, continued that wear and tear through my body, and that's the one thing that I think has been on my mind is that, when you're training that intently, you're lifting really heavy. You're training quite a bit of time during the day. And I just want to be careful that I have a body left and that I continue to be healthy and, just continue to grow old gracefully and healthy and stay strong so that I can see what else is in store for me.
So what kinds of things do you think are around the corner for you?
I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, I hope that I can continue to lift weights in the gym, but it would be fun to try yoga. I don't know if I can do it because I have a very busy brain and I don't know if I can sit still, but I want to try other things, I want to see what Pilates looks like, and I want to see what it feels like to get on a bike. And I mean, there's just a lot of possibilities.
And would you say that, well, I guess I would ask, what do you think bodybuilding has done for you over the last 10 years to get you even to the point where you're thinking, wow, like there's so much life left to live?
Yeah. When I started out the journey of trying to get healthy and strong, I felt broken. I felt broken physically, and I felt broken emotionally. And bodybuilding put me back together. It gave me something to look forward to every day. I love waking up in the morning before anybody's up, going downstairs, eating my oatmeal, getting all my water and my protein shakes together, getting my big black gym bag out and getting everything inside that bag, putting my hair in a ponytail, putting my hat on, getting my clothes on, get into my little car and driving off with the radio playing, thinking, I'm gonna go learn how to be strong. And I thought that it was just about becoming strong physically, but what I learned through bodybuilding is it taught me how to be strong emotionally. It taught me how to be strong mentally. It taught me how to not give up. It's taught me that good things come if you continue to be steadfast in your discipline, but you must do it every single day, and you must do it over a long period of time before you see real results. And that's okay, because that time goes by. And when that time goes by, I want to find myself in a place that I promised myself I was going to be at, and not disappointed in that space of time, but excited about what, I've been able to accomplish. It's given me that reminder of the gift of creation, that we are here with these bodies that God has given us, and that He's allowed us to have joy and happiness through these bodies. I learned that when I had shoulder surgery and I couldn't lift, I remember thinking, I am so grateful that I have doctors that can fix me, and that hopefully I can be back there doing that. And then even more gratitude when I was able to come back to the gym and continue that process again. So I think it's affected every single facet of my life. And I think when I think about us as humans, I think it would be wonderful if everybody had something like that in their life. And absolutely does not need to be bodybuilding. It could be anything. But each of us need to have something in our life that gets us excited about getting up in the morning. And it's just ours. It makes us feel that we are capable and that we're strong. And it gives us life and joy and happiness, and teaches us these lessons about what it means to want something and work really hard and get it. And that can be anything in your life. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding, it can be anything, but I think that sense of pride in our abilities is really, really important.
I love it. It has been such a pleasure hearing your
Thank you.
story.
It's been so fun to be here. It's been really fun.
Thank you so much for coming on the show,
You're
Keleen.
welcome. Thanks
you are
for
such
having
an
me.
inspiration.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And that's a wrap. You've been listening to Feminine Will, and today you heard Keleen Miskin. You can find her on Instagram at KELEEN_RAE. Please email us if you're interested in submitting somebody that you think would be great to have on the show. You can email Andrea at sweatseat.com, SWETSEAT.com, and a quick message from the sponsor, Sweatseat. Sweatseat is a super lightweight, compact, waterproof, machine washable seat cover for the athlete and adventurer. If you want to go shop or learn more, please visit sweatseat.com, SWETSEAT.com. Please check out our Instagram at Feminine Will. Thank you so much for listening to the show today. See you next week.